Hello.
Insert something clever here.
Welcome to C-Pop, the Christian pop culture podcast. I'm Taylor Berglund.
And I'm Jocelyn Lancaster, and I left my coffee at home this morning, and now life is a struggle.
Well, it's all right, Jesslyn. We got something that's gonna get your spirits right back up today.
What? Tell me.
Well, second on the show today, we're going to be interviewing Alec Penix. He's a celebrity trainer. I know you love your
Ooh.
celebrities.
And I also love workout shows. So
There you go.
I would probably, if he had a TV show, I'd eat it up.
It's a perfect fit. You're going to hear my interview with him coming up after our first segment here.
Is it ironic to say eat it up when he's a celebrity trainer?
Maybe.
Because he will be like, you can't have ice cream, Jocelyn. How dare you?
He's an author. He's a trainer. It's a great interview. He's got
I'm
a really cool
excited.
testimony.
Yay, testimonies in Jesus.
But first, I want to talk to you about what you did over the weekend.
Oh, yes. Okay, so
And there might be a game, as is our thing.
there's a game?
Maybe.
Oh.
Go on. Talk to me about your weekend.
Okay, now I'm kind of confused because I didn't know there was a game. I knew we had a plan for it, but this has been sprung upon me. Anyhow, this weekend I went to Rock the Universe, which is a Christian music festival held at Universal Orlando Studios. And this year they had people like Lecrae, Crowder, Francesca Battistelli, Bethel Worship, Big Daddy Weave, I think, was there. So lots of big names. Colton Dixon. I almost said Colby. His name is not Colby. Colton
you know, Colby.
Colton
the man
Dixon
they know as Colby.
was there. And so my husband and I, we went, we hung out, we listened to some awesome worship. David Crowder blew our minds. So, yes, it was really
Did
exciting.
David Crowder tease you from the stage like he did on C-Pop?
I think I was successfully hidden enough in the crowd. But two things that were really big takeaways for me is one, Francesca Battistelli, who is a friend of the show. Obviously, she was part of our season 3 introduction as we talked to her about the Heart of Christmas. Her band was unable to make it. So
Really?
she played, yes, because there's a
So
polar
did
vortex.
she not go on, or?
There's a polar vortex happening. So what she did is she played acoustic, and well, someone played acoustic. She sang, and it was unplugged, and it was amazing, and I really felt the presence of the Lord there, and it was just kind of awe-inspiring because there's a richness to her voice that I haven't heard in recordings. So that was really cool.
That's very cool.
And then we made our way over to the park with other friend of the show, David Crowder. Well, friend of Taylor. Maybe not.
It makes it sound like you and David Crowder were like, ooh, we're going to go do Rip Ride Rocket together, which is a roller coaster at Universal.
It's an amazing roller coaster. No, Heath and I went over to go see David Crowder.
Gotcha.
Also friend of Taylor, and maybe not Jocelyn, depending on your opinion of the episode. And wow. So he played a lot of songs from his new album, which Taylor is called...
I Know a Ghost.
Okay. So he called it Hillbilly
That's the name
Worship.
of the album. That's not just me chiming in with a random fact.
He played what he called Hillbilly Worship. He pulled out a banjo, and
Sounds about right.
it was amazing. He did phenomenally, and like this whole crowd, it was kind of weird because it's a Christian music festival, so you have people from all across denominations coming in, and you have some people who are like sitting on the ground like exhausted from a day at Universal, and you have other people who are jumping in front of you, and still other people looking around going, what's happening? So it was a very fascinating look at how different people view worship, but also it was a fantastic concert. So that was what I did. I went to Rock the Universe. Next year it's going to be held in January, and cool. Yeah.
Was it bigger than usual? Because I know they used to do Night of Joy at Disney World around the same time, but they changed Rock
Yes.
the Universe, and when it's happening, there's like a whole bunch of stuff with that.
So Rock the Universe and Night of Joy at Disney used to be held on the same night, and they kind of split the crowds. So
Weren't they in November or something?
They were
like
in
that?
September. They were
September.
always around my birthday weekend. So this year, Disney said, hey, we're changing up the programming. We've done Night of Joy for 30 years. We're not going to do it anymore. So Rock the Universe said, cool, we're going to move this to February. And I expected there to be lots of youths, and I expected it to be crowded, and I expected for them to be mean because I don't like youths. I'm like Schmidt and New Girl. No. So there actually weren't that many there. It was not that crowded. Like, I felt like the concerts had a good, like, turnout.
Oh, cool.
But as far as, like, if you've ever been to some sort of music festival or event held at a theme park, typically it's wall-to-wall people and you can't move.
Right.
That was not the case here.
Huh.
So I was really excited. I actually preferred it that way because I was kind of dreading all the people that would be there. But instead, it was just like a really sweet time.
Cool. Well, it sounds like you had a really good time there.
I did. And now I've successfully plugged it because that's what I said I would do. So now we can move on to the other thing.
The perks of podcasting. But Jesslyn,
Taylor.
now that you've had such a good time
Yes.
at Rock the Universe, I would like you to do better.
I would do better than Rock the Universe. Is this our game? Am I actually familiar with what's happening?
yeah.
You're just calling it a game?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So, Jesslyn,
Taylor.
here's what we got to do. This is the pitch meeting, and by the end of this episode, I think we're going to have a really cool announcement to make for everyone. We need to design a better Christian conference.
A better Christian conference. As you described it to me earlier, it'd be the Christian version of the Fire Festival.
Well, hopefully it goes better than that, but like in
'Cause
terms of
fire
it
never
being
happened.
almost entirely hypothetical and conceptual, and we can't
This is not a real conference,
right.
but if you would like for it to be, hit us up because I don't know if we can make it happen, but it's nice that you would like this.
Right. So let's plan out this Christian conference. So Jesslyn,
Do I give you my worship leaders first, my speakers?
Yeah, I think every Christian conference has to have worship leaders. We don't know if this is a music or a speaker heavy event yet, but we're gonna need a worship leader regardless. So
Okay.
so who's at this event?
Well,
I'm writing up some marketing
I
copy.
went to Jesus 18 last year, and something they did that I really appreciated was they had different worship leaders. It wasn't the same people the whole time.
I like this.
So I like that vibe
Mhm.
because different people have different styles. So I'm going to go with that, and I am going to say I'd like Holland to be there.
Okay, that's not where I saw this going, but cool. So Holland, that's the person who's on Toby Mac's label, right?
Yes,
Okay.
and she's young, but she's so open about her faith and her struggles, and she's so authentic. I love it. Bring her on.
Okay, great.
I would also like Jordan Feliz
All right.
because I just think he's really cool and he can rock a fedora, and maybe that would be more of a concert than a worship event.
That is the first criteria for who can lead worship at a conference is whether they can wear a fedora. So I think you're on the right track here.
Yes, not what their Holy Spirit is working through. And I think I said that theologically incorrectly.
Do
but
we want to get one of the like big worship bands here?
so if I had to pick a worship band,
Yeah, you got like Elevation, you got Hillsong Young and Free, you got Hillsong United. There's a lot of Hillsong groups out there. Also Jesus Culture, also Bethel.
what if I didn't pick any of those?
What are you gonna pick?
I think I'm actually going to pick the Upper Room Worship,
Okay.
who I worked with for a story, but I also saw them at Jesus 18. And guys, mostly they do covers, but so good. And they also had ballerinas on stage at one point in time, and I thought that was cool.
We have ballerinas on stage.
Yes.
Will the ballerinas also be at this conference?
I think we need ballerinas.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm not sure where I stand on worship flags, but ballerinas, and I'm talking like,
Ballerinas are now session 3.
yes. And I'm talking like actual trained ballerinas, not people like me who think they are ballerinas,
Mhm.
like people who have the legitimate training and were like beaten into submission by a Russian teacher. Those are the kind of ballerinas we want.
All right. So we've got Holland, we've got Jordan Fleas, we've got Upper Room Worship. Are they all doing this together? Like,
No,
or is
each
this
of
like
them
a
will have
Scott
their own
Pilgrim
night.
amp versus amp situation? Or
As great as that would be, and I'd be all for that, and I can think of 5 other people I'd like a lip sync battle with them.
Okay.
That'd be amazing. I think each of them should have their own night
Okay.
because they each have such a different flair and flavor and different things we can take from them.
all right, got it. So who are our speakers at this event?
I'm just really proud of myself right now because you didn't see any of those coming.
I didn't.
So our speakers, okay, so I was thinking about this, and I know some of the obvious speakers, and there are people that I love that obviously want to be there. Francis
Bear in mind, we
Chan.
do need to make a conference that people will want to come to, so we can't just pick a bunch of like random people.
Okay, so I said Francis Chan.
Okay, Francis Chan.
Who doesn't love Francis
Francis
Chan?
Chan will be
Is
there.
the most humble, amazing, kind-hearted, generous soul the world has ever known. There is not a person out there who does not like Francis Chan. If you don't like him, don't come at us. Go away. So other people that I have really enjoyed seeing them speak. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah.
That sounded weird.
Normally you would listen to someone speak, but you could see them speak too.
So I've thought long and hard about this. I think we need a comedy speaker, and I think we need John Christ.
Okay, John Christ will be there.
Because how often do you see comedians at conferences like this?
Is there any way that we get John Christ to be the host of the event and so he transitions everyone in and out of the event as it goes, which gives him just like 5 minutes to pop in, do a little thing, and then bring someone else out?
Well, I'm just throwing speakers at you so you can arrange it how you
Yeah,
want.
okay.
But I just think I would love to attend a session on how to write comedy from like a godly perspective.
Okay,
Like,
so we're gonna have like breakout sessions.
I think
here
that'd be
too.
great.
Okay,
I'd be
great.
happy to listen to
You've
that.
just way upped the amount of speakers you need for this, but all right, let's keep going.
Okay, so now I'm going to go into my random speakers. And Taylor, I know you know what's coming because I have recently professed how much I adore him as a speaker, is JJ Vasquez,
Okay.
who was on the...
Now, for everyone who doesn't know who that is,
I'm about to explain
okay.
that. So if you are interested in knowing who he is, we also did an interview with him on Charisma Connection podcast, and his story is available on Charisma News. He is a local pastor here, and his church is almost
Here
in
being
Orlando.
Orlando.
Yes, and his church is almost exclusively millennials. And guys, he's hysterical, but he's also very convicting. And I'm convinced that the reason people don't know who he is yet is just because they don't know who he is yet. Like, I foresee great things
It makes
for him.
sense. The logic checks out.
You don't know who he is because you don't know who he is. Like, the reason he's not as popular.
Right.
And he is amazing, and his sermons are wonderful, and I'm really looking forward to watching one when I get home tonight. So, and I don't watch sermons on my own. Now, I'm going to throw this next one in there for you, Taylor, because I know that you are a groupie for John Mark Comer.
Yep.
And I think that he offers a fresh perspective on the theology behind things. Like, he's a deep thinker, and there's a large segment of the audience that gets left out when we do conferences because we want hype and excitement, and he can actually break things down and explain them.
Great. Now, Jesslyn, I feel like here, I'm liking this lineup so
They're
far.
all men. Oh, goodness, I need a woman.
So there's a couple things here. We definitely need some diversity to this panel here. We're also going to need, I feel like we need someone who can really bring some like Holy Spirit fire to the conference.
Okay, so now are you going to give me your speakers?
No.
Oh.
You're still coming
Oh,
up
I'm
with
still
this.
coming
yeah,
up with them.
I'm just being the overbearing stage manager at this point.
So we need someone who can bring the fire. Fine, Heidi Baker.
Heidi Baker. Perfect.
You don't get much more fire
Two
than
birds,
Heidi
one
Baker.
stone. Heidi Baker. Who else we got?
Let's see. Who else can bring the fire that I really like? Lisa Bevere.
All right, Lisa Bevere's going to be there. Now we're building out a conference that I can see the website for, where there's all the little like square pictures of all the speakers who are going to be
I
at
like
this event.
circles. Let's do little circles where if you hover your mouse over it, it like pops out with their bio and all their information.
Perfect. I'll send that on to the IT team.
All right, so I think that's a pretty solid lineup. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, this is a very small conference so far, but that's okay. So right now it's Holland, Jordan Felice, Upper Room Worship. There's ballerinas. There's JJ Vasquez.
You're still laughing. To clarify, again, hard-trained ballerinas, not people who think they're ballerinas.
Francis Chan, John Christ, John Mark Comer, Heidi Baker, Lisa Bevere, and you just came up with an idea.
I did. How did you know that?
Because you gasped into your microphone.
Well, I was just thinking that maybe we could replace worship flags with the little ribbon sticks.
Okay.
And I would be all about that life.
All right, so Jesslyn, with this conference so far, I think this is good so far.
I don't think this is a little conference anymore. I actually think there's some pretty good people there.
Yeah, no, it's just not like it's not like, oh man, this is the conference of the year. I feel like this is.
Well, fine. Let's bring in Chris Pratt.
Okay, Chris Pratt will also be speaking at this conference.
How's the conference now?
I think conference lineup's great now. Chris Pratt is here.
He could also work on the comedy session. He could also talk about using your talents in Hollywood.
Know who
I think
else
it's
is here?
great.
Tim Tebow's here too.
Let's just bring it. And his new fiance, former Miss Universe.
Okay, great.
Who's something, oh goodness, Nell Peters is her last name. And her first name starts with a D. Is it Demi?
I think that sounds right.
I don't think that's right.
No, we'll find out. I'm sure
It's something Nell Peters.
Our producer's apparently fact-checking this. In the meantime, Jesslyn, what is the name of this conference?
Clearly, we need a conference name that makes no sense whatsoever because it just is like very hipstery.
Well, because what we've got, like some of the existing ones out there to kind of stoke the fires here accordingly, we have Winter Jam, Rock the Universe, Catalyst, Passion, Open Heavens, Heaven Come. Both those last two are Bethel ones.
That makes sense.
Yeah. That's kind of the vibe we're looking at here.
We are going to call this... what is the... Okay, our producer would like to tell us the name of Tim Tebow's fiance. It is... I did get it.
Yeah,
it's Demi Lee Nell Peters. I got Demi Nell Peters. I missed the Lee.
You've been leaving our listeners in suspense about what this conference is going to be for like 20
so
seconds now.
I would like to call it Burn.
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 Especially apt for the Fire Festival comparisons.
Like we're burning for Jesus and we're going to set the world on fire. We're calling it Burn.
Mm-hmm. There we go. So this is Burn 2019.
2020.
Oh, okay.
We're going to get some time, like amp up the
Burn 2020, a heavenly perspective.
dun dun dun.
This year's theme.
I'm actually really impressed with how this turned out
Yep.
because I've been like, I don't want to do the same speakers everyone does. They're already at these conferences. Now look, we brought in Chris Pratt and Tim Tebow.
Yeah. Chris Pratt is going to be the keynote speaker, and
I'd watch that.
And John Christ is emceeing the event.
I would watch this. I would go to this.
I think there's like a 2-day conference here. I feel like
3-day. Let's pull it out over a weekend.
3-day. All right. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Our producer brings up a good point. It's probably 2.5. It's probably like there's a Friday like evening sort of thing, and then it's like 2 full days, Saturday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
That feels right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you guys can get your tickets for Burn.
At cpnshows.com.
Yep. All when we go over the social media stuff later, that's the place to go with all of your requests for the Burn tickets. Totally not a scam.
Maybe
just like the Fire Festival, this is happening.
We could also include celebrity trainer Alec. How do you say his last name?
Alec Penix.
Alec Penix. Maybe we could also include him, but you need to find out more about him after this sponsor.
CPN is proud to announce a new show, In Depth with Stephen Strang. In this podcast, our host asks deeper questions to provide better coverage of Christian stories that affect our daily walk. Host Stephen Strang, founder and CEO of Charisma Media and host of the Strang Report podcast, offers weekly insights and longer conversations with influential Christian leaders. In episode 1, Steve goes in depth with a global leader and media guru, Damon Davis, who went on a 10-year journey to find the physical and spiritual answers to his health problems, which he details in his new book, God Cures: 21 Days to Look Good, Live Great, and Love Well. Hear this amazing story and what you can do to be healed and stay healthy. Listen on iTunes, cpnshows.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Welcome back to C-Pop, guys. I am so excited to welcome, over the phone line, Alec Penix. Alec, how are you?
I am great. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm excited to talk with you today. I think this is going to be a really fun interview. So you are a celebrity trainer, and you're the author of the book 7 Sundays. And we're going to get into 7 Sundays and everything going on with that. But first off, I want to hear from you. What's your testimony?
Yeah, so for most of my life, I sort of verbalize it and identify it as me being spiritually malnourished. I was probably in a state of disposition where just a low spirits for most of my 20s, trying to figure things out, searching and have a sense of curiosity. And I guess that's the one gift that really God gave me, is be able to start, to really tap into that curiosity. But however, I was in a really dark place, and I remember I was in Mexico for a wedding. One of my clients, Alexa Penavega.
Oh, great.
Yeah. I was actually in their wedding, and this was the night before, and we were celebrating, and I'll let you read in between the lines on that one. And the next morning, or I should say evening, I woke up and feeling terrible and not feeling myself, and I was probably in one of the darkest places in my life. And I tell people that this was probably the first time I've ever prayed out loud, and I called out for God's help, saying, I need your help. And the transitioning from this story, this is where people think I'm crazy, but I heard a voice and said, Alec, it's time for you to become the man I've called you to be. And ever since then, I've been on fire, and I've been walking this new walk of faith, and it's really been transformative in my life and also sort of the people around me. And that's sort of how I came to this book on a very surface-based level there. But yeah, that's really my beginning of my relationship with God, and it's been quite the journey ever since.
Nice. And how long ago was that?
That's probably about 5 years ago. I was 27, and prior to that, I maybe went to church once. I remember my mom taking me to church, and it was almost like her taking me to school. Like I just didn't want to go. I was like, oh, I want to stay home and watch cartoons. So I had a sort of a negative idea of what church was, and I never even really opened up the Bible. I never really knew who God was. And then all of a sudden, God was apprehending me one day, and from the day I got saved, I was learning. It was a brand new relationship, just starting off, learning His Word and learning what it's like to pray and develop that relationship. So it's been a very unique journey for me.
That's really cool. Now, you mentioned there briefly in passing Carlos and Alexa Pina Vega. I think I'm saying that all right there. My co-host Jesslyn would kill me if I didn't ask you, who are as a celebrity trainer, who are some of the other names we might recognize from your clients that you've worked with? That you're allowed to say, of course.
I'm really always hesitant about answering this, because I want to keep things private. But I will do you guys an exception because you guys are awesome.
Oh, thank you.
I've trained. I was on tour with a band, Big Time Rush, and because of that experience and having that opportunity, I did a really good job. And a lot of in Hollywood, it's really about developing those relationships. And from there, I started training a lot of the people from Dancing with the Stars, Derek Huff, Julianne Hough, Mark Ballas, Emma Slater's, those types. I remember when I was on, because Carlos and Alexa were on Dancing with the Stars at one time, and I was, that red room that they have in the back where Aaron Andrews will go back there and start interviewing some of the contestants and stuff. Uh-huh. Well, you could actually see me back there. I was actually making some of the guys doing pull-ups because they're about to get ready to go on stage to do a Magic Mike theme. So it was quite, at that point in time, I was like, oh, I guess, I'm kind of making it out here, and being a celebrity trainer and all. And, but then, I've trained the likes of Natasha Bedingfield, Gabby Douglas, Devon Franklin, and then just recently within the last year or so, Shawn Mendes.
Oh, fantastic! Well, that's really cool. So we've got your bona fides here in terms of celebrity trainer at this point. So thank you for indulging me on that because my co-host never would have spoken to me again if I didn't ask you on that. But you've got a new book out, 7 Sundays. So can you talk to me a little bit about what motivated you to write this book and what's in it?
Yes. So it's a book that is focused on strengthening your spirit, your mind, and your body simultaneously. From my own journey of what I've gone through, I've always been physically strong, but because of my past and me, being teased a lot in school, and then me sort of adopting this, I was diagnosed with a learning disability at a young age, and then that brought on a lot of, traumatic experiences in grade school. And unfortunately, it's just the way things are. So I sort of adopted this sort of limit mentality, this I'm not smart, I'm not worthy mentality. So this book is really a reflection of what I've gone through personally and how I started to get myself out of creating a new identity for myself. And it was the disciplines of the day-to-day that I sort of approached with me and strengthening my mind and strengthening my relationship with God that really brought me into a new place and a new identity to start creating a new life for myself. And I was like, man, if I can do this for me, then how could I do this for other people? And I began to sort of see my clients, their lives begin to change through just me changing. And at that point in time, the opportunities came upon, and I just went with it. And now I have a book called 7 Sundays, and I have a chance to give back on something I'm passionate about and something that I believe in. And it's quite the journey. But yeah, it's really about going through those physical exercises, those spiritual exercises every day, and through that time, really strengthening your faith and strengthening that relationship with God to sort of help you persevere and get you through some of those difficult times that you have dealt with in your life. And not only that, bringing some awareness to the surface to bring you to a deeper introspection of who you are, to start dealing with those heals and those wounds, and to start moving forward.
Well, that's really cool. And I think that the idea of training the body and the soul simultaneously, I think that's a really cool idea. And I think it hits on a theological concept that, like, for me, I've been even studying a lot in the Bible recently, of just the idea of, like, sometimes Christians, I think we can think of ourselves as just a soul or just a spirit. And like our body is temporary, and so it's like, oh, we're not really paying that much attention to it. But like God made us to be both like flesh and spirit simultaneously, and so I think it's really cool that the book focuses on both of those halves.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. The way that God created our body, our minds, and how all of it is connected. There's a nervous system that we have, and that if we aren't moving our body in a powerful way, in a healthy way, then we aren't really activating the full potential of who God made us to be. And when we move, and when we pray, and when we meditate, and when we read, and we strengthen the mind, and when we strengthen the body, we begin to really activate this nervous system in a really powerful way to start connecting ourselves in a much deeper way with God and those around us.
Fantastic. Now, I know in the book that there's the 6 pillars of purpose. Obviously, I don't want you to give away everything that's in your book. We got to get our listeners to go check out the book. But can you share maybe 1 or 2 of those pillars?
Yeah, I mean, you can really, the pillars are the foundation of each day. You can really break it up into 2. You have the spiritual elements, and then you have the physical side as well. You have, for the spiritual, you have conceding, honoring, offering. And the one that I really like to talk about is the offering element to it, because when it comes to a lot of exercise and diet books out there, it's mostly for your own personal edification, whereas this is not just for your own empowerment, but to empower and to enrich your relationships and with the people around you, to connect with the community and to give back, and to sort of, like I said, empower those people in your community and those around you as well. So I think there's a little different edge there, and I say that the quickest way to get out of a state of depression is to give back. It puts us in a state of gratitude, and it really shifts things, and it helps us put things in contrast. And then for the physical side that I really like, it's the sleep element. I think that people overlook the fact that they're like, so what is it, Alec? Is it like 90% nutrition and like 10% exercise? And I'm like, I go, well, if you read my book, it's a third sleep, a third exercise, and a third nutrition. And when you put all of that together, then you're able to really, I think, come into an alignment and to really maximize your ability when it comes to getting developing a healthy life. And I think sleep is one of those things that is overlooked. So I have a lot of cool tricks about sort of developing healthier sleeping habits, getting yourself on more of a sleeping schedule, going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time, and doing something as simple as cleaning your sheets, and making your bed feel homey and safe and comfortable, and actually really psychologically can really help us and impact our sleep.
That's very cool, and that's interesting. I never would have guessed that before. So that's a good perspective on that. So one thing that I like to do with our guests around this point in the interview is we play a game called Rapid Fire Favorites. So I'm going to throw a topic out there, and then don't think about it too hard. Just tell me what your favorite thing is for that category then. And we'll just, we'll let our audience get to know you a little bit.
Okay, here we go.
All right, here we go. Start with an easy one. Favorite animal?
Lion.
All right. Favorite dessert?
Chocolate chip cookies.
All right. Favorite movie?
Good Will Hunting.
Favorite weather?
Sunny, Southern California.
that makes sense. Favorite song?
What's that song? They Ain't No Mountain High Enough?
Yeah,
Ain't No Valley
I think
Low
ain't no mountain high enough. I think that's it. What's your favorite verse?
It is probably. This is a tough one. When Jesus speaks about, the truth is to set you free. I've come here to set you free.
Great. Favorite character in the Bible?
Probably Jesus.
All right, there we go. Hey, there's no wrong answer in that, and amazingly, no one has said that with all the guests we've played so far. So, good choice on that. And this is going to seem like a bonkers question to you, but
Okay, go for it.
In the first half of this episode, Jesslyn and I were designing our own Christian conference with like worship leaders there or artists or speakers. So if you had to add a Christian speaker, preacher, artist to this event, who would you add?
Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Bishop T.D. Jakes. All right, he's going to be at this event now too. So that'll be added on to what we talked about in the first half of the episode. So
You got to put it out there.
got to put it out there. So all right. Well, Alec, it's been so fun talking to you today and hearing your story and even getting some good fitness tips for myself because I could use that. So if people want to get 7 Sundays or even just follow you online, where can they do that?
You can get the book on Amazon. You can get the book at Barnes & Noble. You can go online and get it at Barnes & Noble. You can reach out to me at Alec the Trainer, which is my Instagram, and which is I'm most frequent on. And then you have a website is alecpenix.com, which is another source where you can get fitness advice, and you can also get my book on there as well. So, yeah, I mean, those are really my main sources, and I have also a Facebook at, I think it is Alec Penix the Trainer.
Fantastic.
So, as you can tell, that Facebook is not my my main source of interaction, but more on the Instagram side. I think it might be a millennial thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. I find that most of my friends are as well over on Instagram more so. Facebook.
Yeah. But I'm working on it because a lot of people have been reaching out to me on Facebook, talking to me and asking me questions about 7 Sundays.
They're pulling you back in, even when
they're pulling me in, man.
You thought you were out of Facebook, and now they're pulling you back in.
Man, I don't know what this is all about, but
well, they can access you on any of those platforms. Then, Alec, it has been a pleasure to talk with you. Have a great day.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
That was a great interview.
I love interviews. Interviews are my favorite.
So thanks again to Alec Penix for being on the show with us today, and thank you guys for listening. If
Maybe
you guys want to
he will come to Orlando and train me. I can be a celebrity.
Well, of course, we're gonna have Burn 2020, a Heavenly Perspective, coming soon as a conference. If you want to get your tickets to the Burn 2020 conference, which is totally a real thing, TM, you can go to Facebook, where we are the Charisma Podcast Network. You can go to Twitter at CPN Shows. We're on Instagram at CPN Shows, because we linked it up like that. We're also cpnshows.com. I'm on Twitter at TaylorWWJD. Jesselyn is dying of laughter, but maybe she can give her social media handles for a sec.
I am at Jesselyn Lancaster.
Remember, guys, hashtag FeelTheBurn2020. That's how we'll know that you're interested here.
Can't. Bring it on.
I'm Taylor.
I'm Jesselyn.
And all God's people say,
Amen.
This has been a production of the Charisma Podcast Network. Steve and Joy Strang are the founders and owners of CPN. Dr. Steve Green is the executive producer of the Charisma Podcast Network. We intend to honor God with every podcast and remain thankful to our advertisers and supporters who make these podcasts